Hey guys, welcome to the Ramsey Paul Show, or I think I call it the Hillbilly Wrap-Up. I might change the name, but welcome. I'm excited for you to be here, and happy Friday the 13th. Do you consider that an unlucky day? I don't necessarily, but there's been a lot of wild stuff in the news we'll cover, and thank you for being here. We do this every Friday night at 8 p.m. Central. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I kind of like if I get $50 on this stream, I will do a show on Monday. It's kind of a target goal. I guess a lot of streamers do, and I don't know. It kind of works well. So I do appreciate your support. You can either give a super chat or a power chat. Super chat on YouTube, power chat right here. Rumble has rants, and Streamelements has a tip feature. And yeah, it's been a very rainy spring here in Northwest Arkansas. I don't think our senator would know that, Senator Tom Cotton. He's always just focused on Israel 100%. And obviously, that is the big news. Israel last night attacked Iran. They called it, let me bring this up here. This is when this, I love the propaganda language they use. Israel, flash, Israel says it's launching a preemptive strike against Iran. Well, what the hell does a preemptive strike mean? That means you're striking first. I think the logic is that, well, I may be striking first, but it's preemptive because if I didn't strike, they would strike. So I got to strike before they strike. It's a weird logic, and it has been used a lot in history. In fact, Hitler used that logic for attacking the Soviet Union. Hitler considered that a preemptive strike because they had intelligence that Stalin was planning to invade the Reich, especially Romania. And Germany had a problem. They had trouble getting access to oil, and their main oil supply came from Romania, which was an Axis country back then. And so they were worried about it. So they had intelligence that Stalin was going to attack the Reich, and that intelligence was accurate. But what wasn't accurate was the date. Stalin wasn't planning to attack that year. I think it was 1940. He wasn't planning to do that at all. But Hitler thought the attack would come sooner. So Hitler launched what he called a preemptive attack. So I'm going to attack you before you attack me type of thing. So it's been used. It's a way of justification because I guess in our moral code, it looks bad to attack first. I'm not really up on moral codes anymore. I think in general, the only immorality in practical terms is losing. If you win, you can write the history and you can call yourself the good guys. So that's really what matters. That's why if we would have lost, for example, World War II, it would have been a lot of British and American leaders on trial for war crimes like Dresden or even Japan. But if you win, hey, that's all that matters is to winning. But still, for propaganda, they want to try to be on the moral side. But the whole idea of a preemptive strike is not moral in a Western tradition. Of course, Iran is not Western and Israel's not Western. They're the Oriental, basically, Middle East. So that they don't really have the same philosophy. But in Western tradition and Christianity, you can only attack in self-defense. And whatever nations do, you should always bring it down to the personal level. And as I posted on X the other day, based on this announcement, we're doing a preemptive strike. I'm like, well, okay, let me just think about that in my life. Could I get away, for example, I decide, well, my neighbor next door, he's a rancher, him and his wife. And, I think he's talking shit about me. And he says I'm the great Satan and I should be destroyed. He's saying a lot of mean things about me. I think I'm going to kill him before he has a chance to kill me. So in the middle of the night, I go over there and shoot him and his wife. Okay. And then I'm arrested. I'm like, hey, wait, no, you don't understand. This was a preemptive strike I did. I don't think that legal theory would work, right? Now, if they came to my house with guns and they were trying to kill me, breaking in my house, and I shot them, by the way, he wouldn't do that. This is this is a thought experiment. The guy's a really nice guy. We're friends. But let's say if he did that, he was breaking into my house. Yeah, then that's self-defense, and I would be in the right to attack him and kill him. And so the same thing was Israel. Iran did not attack Israel. Yeah, they said mean things about Israel. Who cares, right? People say mean things about everyone. And you can say, well, how about October 7th? Yeah, but that wasn't Iran. That was another militia group. But the militia group is sponsored by Iran. Well, if you go down that route, I mean, you could say then Ukraine, the war with Russia, it was United States because we, fund a lot of what happened in Ukraine. Maybe that would be legitimate. But you go down a real slippery slope there. Iran itself never attacked Israel. They were not planning to attack Israel. There was no evidence of that whatsoever. In fact, I think Iran was definitely trying to develop a negotiated settlement with Trump. And I think they were getting pretty close. And I think this was really worrying Israel because they don't want the United States to normalize relations with Iran. Because this goes back a long ways. Back in the 1990s, I think it was, one of the generals, I saw this on PBS, it's fascinating. Was it I don't want to say his name because I probably got it wrong, but he talked about like he was shocked in the 1990s. He saw this whole plan that was laid out. It's called like the clean break strategy, where Israel and the United States, we would attack and overthrow Iraq, then overthrow Syria, and then finally Iran. This was in the 90s. So this is nothing new. And if you look at it, that's pretty much what has happened so far. In Iraq, after 9/11, we decided to go to war with Saddam Hussein, even though Saddam Hussein had nothing to do with 9/11. But that didn't matter. That didn't matter. They all look the same to us. So we got to kick someone's ass. So we toppled Saddam Hussein. That created a whole bunch of issues. Okay, and then there was Syria, Assad. He just recently fell, I think, last year. But that was the big thing. And then the final one with Israel's plan that this dates back now 30 years was Iran. So this is not new. Israel's wanted war with Iran, especially the United States, to get involved since the 90s. It's not new. Everyone knew this. They've been paying their whores in Washington for 30 years to advocate for that, like Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton. By the way, those guys, I think, should be arrested for treason. I think if you're an American politician and you're obsessed about a foreign country, you're being paid by them, and you fly their flag, you should get the hell out. As much as I don't like to see the people, let's say in LA, that are rioting, waving the Mexican flag, I know that's offensive. They need to go back to Mexico. The people that wave the Israeli flag or put it on their office doors, they need to get out of America. They can go live in Israel. Obviously, they're not loyal to this country. And I'm talking non-Jews like Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton. It's really pathetic. Tom Cotton is from Arkansas, but you would never know it. He never talks about Arkansas. He doesn't give a shit about Arkansas. Lindsey Graham, South Carolina. He doesn't give a shit about South Carolina. In fact, that big, beautiful bill, Lindsey Graham is working to get the no tax on tips thing out because that could help Americans. And, they're against anything that's going to help Americans. But do you think Tom Cotton or Lindsey Graham would ever decide to cut spending to Israel because, we have a deficit problem. We got to cut spending. We got to be responsible conservatives and not spend like drunken sailors. So we're going to cut spending to Israel. There's just no way. There's no way. And I texted today, I don't mean this in hyperbole, but let's say if Israel should decide to attack Arkansas with a nuke, let's say Little Rock. I'm not joking. Tom Cotton would post, I stand with Israel in doing this. And I'm not joking. I really, truly believe he would do that. That's how far gone these guys are. They're like agents of another country. And that's something we got to fix, how we have foreign influence on our politicians. And it's just not Israel, obviously. People make a big do about the Chinese having influence. Maybe, but it's not as much. Israel's number one, AIPAC. There's no doubt about it. And I think the younger people in the Republican Party see that. But a lot of the old boomer types, they still worship Israel because their belief of a bring Jesus back or some sort of nonsense. And so we got this mess here. So the notion of a preemptive attack, that's really immoral. All they should have done is waited for the negotiations with Trump. But I think they were scared there would be a deal and they wanted to derail it. So they attacked Iran with a bunch of missiles. Now, was Trump, there's some debate if Trump was actively involved, that he gave the green light. Initially, the American government said no, they didn't give a green light. They were aware of it. Trump knew that Israel was going to attack, but he didn't green light it. But then I've heard Israel saying, oh no, Trump green light, lit the attack. So there was a big attack in Israel. Well, one of the things they did is they killed all the negotiators. So I guess there won't be any more negotiations. They assassinated them and they killed a bunch of people. And so they were excited about that. But then today, Friday the 13th, Iran counterattacked. They shot off their missiles. And at least the hypersonic missiles look to be landing here. And that is the situation that we'll see here. Oh, let me show you the hypersonic missile. I'll show you. This is an example, allegedly, of a hypersonic missile hitting Israel, Tel Aviv, I believe. And these hypersonic missiles are very difficult to shoot down, even with the Patriot system. So let's take a look here. I guess that's the aftermath. I have another video that actually showed the missile coming in. But you can see there was damage. So a lot of these missiles did land. They were not shot down by the Patriots because, of course, all these attacks may be done by Israel, but you, dear taxpayer, are paying for it. And we give them all our weapon systems. And so that is what we're having right now here. And the other thing is, the talking point is that we had to attack, or Israel had to attack Iran because they're extremely close to a nuclear bomb. They're just a year or two away. You've heard that, right? And I thought, that really sounds familiar. It seems like for a lot of my life, I've heard that. And this one guy actually showed the information on this. This is really quite interesting. Here we go here. A brief history of Netanyahu's desire to bomb Iran. So in 1995, in his book, Fighting Terrorism, Mr. Netanyahu warned that Iran was 3 to 5 years away from developing a nuclear bomb. It's kind of like the climate change people, right? Oh, in 3 to 5 years, we're all going to be dead. The earth is going to boil. Remember, the sea level is going to rise by the year 2000 and New York City will be underwater. And I'm like, I was rooting for that, but it never happens. Nothing ever happens, right? I'm like, yeah, I hope that happens, but that didn't happen. Or all the ice would melt, and that hasn't happened. Ice is thicker than ever. But it's the same way here. So he was saying in 1995. So how long is that? That's 30 years, right? This is 2025, 30 years ago. He was saying Iran would get a nuclear bomb within 3 to 5 years. And then in 1996, he warned that they're extremely close to the nuclear bomb. Then in 2009, according to the Times, Netanyahu was suggested striking the nuclear facilities during the Green Revolution or whatever protest movement. And so the nuclear bomb thing is obviously bullshit. It's now Iran may develop a nuclear bomb now because they understand their survival depends on it. But the whole idea is they wanted to overthrow the regime in Iran. Israel did. So they needed an excuse. So he came up with this nuclear bomb thing that he trotted out for 30 years. And we're supposed to take that seriously. So that was one of the reasons that they would have a nuclear bomb, which is ironic because Israel, they weren't allowed to have a nuclear bomb, but they have one, or some. So I don't know where Israel gets off pointing fingers at Iran. North Korea has a nuclear bomb. Pakistan, I don't like to see it spread, but it's just going to happen anyway. The reason, obviously, Israel doesn't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb, because then they'd probably have to deal with Iran. They don't want to deal with Iran. They just want to topple them. So there's nothing Iran can really do to satisfy Israel / the United States. And again, Israel has so much power over our politicians. It's disgusting. So what they decide, our foreign policy does. And you have all the people that I consider basically foreign agents. I don't know how else to say it. Here's Tom Cotton. Just give you a little, I'm proud to stand with Israel. Well, why don't we have a politician? If I was a politician, I would say, hey, I'm proud to stand with America. I'm not standing with Israel or Iran. This is none of our business. We have problems in this country. We don't have money to be sending all this weapon shit to Israel. They need to deal with it on their own. We need to focus on our borders. We have a lot of problems in this country. In a lot of ways, we're a poor country now with our infrastructure and many other things. So that'd be my argument. We don't have time for this. But you have all these politicians saying they're going to stand for other countries. And it's a really bad look. But they're not subtle about it either. You think they'd be a little bit more subtle, but it's really crazy. I got a super chat. So $5 from AC. All right. So only $45 more. And we have a show on Monday. Scott Adams figured out which foreign country is behind the U.S. having open borders. China. Did he really say that? Poor Scott. I don't want to pick on a guy that's supposedly dying. But yeah. One of the things in the human psyche is a transference. It's a psychological thing. I guess the thing that's like the cliche, let's say if the boss is mean to the husband, this was years ago when, women stayed home. But so let's say 1960s, the man was yelled at by his boss. His boss is a real jerk. But the man can't, the husband, the man can't yell back at his boss because he needs a job. But he has a lot of anger. So he transfers it. When he gets home, he yells at the wife, right? And back then, wives, they had to be more submissive to their husbands. So the wife wouldn't yell at the husband. So she would redirect her anger to the children. And the children back then couldn't smart off to their mother. Again, this is kind of a dated example because it's all inverted now. Now men are scared of their wives and all the parents are scared of their children. But it used to be this way. So then the children, though, so the mother would yell at the children and the children would like kick the dog. That's like a transference thing. And you see that a lot that happens. So if you're bullied by someone, but you're scared of them, you take out your aggression on a safer target. So because they're scared of Israel because of the influence they have in the media and AIPAC, and you don't want to be called anti-Semitic, you don't want to be canceled, the whole 9 yards, right? But you have this anger of a foreign country. So you have to transfer it to another one. And in this case, typically with the Republicans, they do that with China. Not that I'm a fan of China. I think China's taken advantage of us in trade quite a bit. I agree with Trump on that. I don't want them to buy our farmland. I don't want all the damn Chinese students coming over here, which, by the way, Trump has cucked on. He's going to bring the Chinese students over. I don't want them over. I don't have anything against China, though. They can, like I said, the Chinese government or the Chinese people, they don't have Chinese organizations trying to censor me. Now, if I was in China, maybe they would, but not here in the United States. So China's never really bothered me that much. But, these boomer Republican types, they can't attack Israel because for a variety of reasons. It could be religious, or could be scared, whatever. So, but they have this anger, so they attack China. And so I'm not surprised that Scott Adams would attack China. If you attack China, you're not going to get canceled anywhere. You're not going to lose a speaking invite. you're not going to be deplatformed. You really won't. It's not that scary to attack China. That's how you could tell they don't really have that much power. But China's for open border policy. Interesting. Okay. Then I have a super chat from K-Max McDonald. Thank you, K-Max. Let me bring that up here. That's $5. So we're $40 away from the goal already. So, hey, we're making good progress. So let's take a look here. Yeah. K-Max, $5. Is Israel trying to drag America into a war with Iran? Oh, yeah. Will we fall for it? At least no boots on the ground, though. A good question. I don't think Trump wants a war with Iran. I think he really wanted to negotiate with them. And, Trump's always been rah-rah Israel. We knew that going in. But I think he even gets frustrated with them. Trump, despite all his bravado, he likes to work deals. Trump is kind of more of a lover than a fighter. I mean, he talks tough, but in the final analysis, he tries to work a deal. And a lot of his enemies use the phrase taco. Trump always chickens out, and I understand that. I did a video to my Substack supporters. By the way, follow me on Substack. I did a video for them today. But I talk about the taco, and Trump does that quite a bit. He'll talk real tough. Like the tariffs are a classic example. 500% of tariffs. But then he walks it back real quick, right? Remember Liberation Day on April 2nd? All of that's been walked back. So Trump, that's his style, that he says a lot of tough stuff, belligerent, but then he wants to get a deal. That's kind of his negotiating style. And I think he was trying to do that with Iran. But I think Israel was worried that he would get a deal because Israel doesn't want to deal with Iran. They want Iran to be destroyed. And they were worried that Trump was going to make a peace, and Israel doesn't want peace. So that is a problem. And I think that's what happened. Now, you brought up a good question, though, is how effective are these attacks really? And I don't think they're going to be effective from either side. And that doesn't mean people won't die. Israel, they shot off those missiles. I think they wiped out a lot of commanders because I guess Iran said they were tricked. They were all getting together for a negotiation, that where they were at for the negotiation was provided by the United States to Israel, and Israel executed them or assassinated them. So, I mean, it can be effective that way. But the main problem, even before all these missile strikes, is a lot of the key nuclear development is deep underground that we really can't get at missiles. So while Iran can shoot off missiles and try to hit Tel Aviv and other targets in Israel, some of them will get through, like the hypersonics. Other missiles may be shot down. And Iran has some missile defense. I think they already shot down an F-35 with rumored an Israeli pilot. I'm not sure if that's true. But they have a pretty good missile defense. And Israel can do some damage, but it's not, I don't think, going to do a regime change. It's not going to stop Iran's nuclear development. In fact, Iran probably will go full force now. I think Iran realizes there's no reason to negotiate. They felt betrayed that the United States wasn't negotiating with them in good faith, that the United States was just doing that to trick them. And I don't know if that's the case or not, but Iran definitely thinks that now. And Iran definitely now will go for a nuclear bomb. Beforehand, their policy was they weren't going to go for a nuclear bomb. But I think they will now. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if I was in their situation, I would too. So this is where we are right now. But we can't really stop their nuclear program with these missiles. And Iran can't really destroy Israel with missiles. And so while the missile attacks are kind of cool to watch on the internet, and they can provide some good spectacular explosions, I don't think that they're going to accomplish much. To really win a war, still, you need to send in the grunts. You need to send in like the troops. You need boots on the ground. That's just a fact. And Israel and Iran, they're not that close together. They're there's like 3,000 miles apart. They're pretty far apart from each other. So it's not like the Iranian troops can just invade Israel. That's not going to happen. In Israel, they don't have a big enough army to invade Iran. So they both have missiles, and drones, but that's basically all it is. And that's not going to change much. That's not going to change the leadership in Israel, and it won't change the leadership in Iran. I think we've understand now our limits of power, and that even if we should get involved and shoot like Tomahawk missiles or whatever, that will not stop Iran or change their leadership or their nuclear programs. So, and we don't have the will to send all these our boys to go fight and die for Israel in the sands of Iran. That's not going to happen. So, they're going to shoot back missiles back and forth or whatever. And I don't think this is the start of World War III. I know I should say that because you get more clicks. Alex Jones, and a lot of people, hyperbole really sells on the internet. And it's like, oh my God, we're all going to die. All you preppers, get out your Jim Baker food buckets. If you know what that is. This is it. Go underground. This is World War III. I don't know. It seems like people would get tired of seeing that every month, like Alex Jones. This is World War III, man. Anytime there's a missile attack. No, it isn't. Okay, that's just stupid. I mean, I don't know. But I guess people like that. This isn't World War III. Israel can't send troops in Iran. Iran doesn't really have the ability to send troops in Israel. They can throw missiles back and forth. Oh, okay. I'm not trying to minimize it. People will die and blow up buildings. I get it. But the only real chance that to this be resolved is if the United States should invade Iran, and there's no political will on the Democrats or the Republicans to do that. I mean, even the hardcore neocons, that would be a tough sell, right? That would be a tough sell. I don't even know if Ben Shapiro would try to sell that one. So I don't see that happening. And Russia and China, you could say they're allies of Iran, sort of. They trade with them. But they're not going to intervene on the behalf of Iran to attack Israel. They're just not. China's about trading and making money. They don't really want conflict. And Russia's got their hands full with Ukraine. They don't want to get involved with Israel. And they don't want to piss off the United States on that. And we're in some issue. Trump has no appetite to go to war with Iran. I think he's kind of pissed that Israel attacked Iran, honestly. And already Trump is trying to get a negotiation going to end this. So maybe that will happen. I don't know. But what deal would be satisfactory for both Iran and Israel? Because Iran already said, hey, we're happy, promise not to make nuclear weapons. You can inspect us, but we want nuclear power for peaceful purposes and all this other stuff. And Israel and the Israeli lobby has always vetoed that suggestion. So that's what we have right there here. Here is the little bit of the confusion of who approved what. And wait a minute, I got a couple power chats or super chats. Let me get a super chats here. I think I had that. Hey, greetings from Denton, Texas. Hey, I used to go down to Texas quite a bit in the Plano, Dallas area. They take so many Indian students here you think is Delhi. They are rude and have incompatible hygienic practices. Yeah, I honestly, I did who did I say this to? I think this was Sasha when I did the Daylight Dispatch with Sasha. And I gave a thought experiment. Who would you, if you had to rank the immigrants you wanted, how would you rank them? Like the Germans, and then you could, let's say, have Mexicans or Indians or Haitians. I think Indians would be near the bottom. Probably Haitians would be the bottom, but I would rather have Mexicans than Indians. But I still don't want, I don't want millions of Mexicans. And really the whole Mexican thing is kind of over anyway. It's more South Central America. But yeah, I agree with that. So thank you on that. So let's see here. $20 from California Tune. Thank you. So, boy, that makes it so $20. So let's see, they got 20 and 30 and 35. Wow, right? 20, 30, 35, just 15 more dollars. I do a show on Monday. So thank you for that. But it's good to have Texans. I have always had a love-hate relationship with Texas. I just find it too hot. Dallas is like the hottest place in the summer, and it's so flat and it's so crowded, but the people are so cool there. I really do like Texans. So I'm split. I really love the people, but I don't, man, Texas is hard. And I'm in Arkansas. It gets hot here in the summer, but man, Texas is a new type of heat. So thank you. I do like Texas. I like the Texan people. They're very friendly. It's always really friendly people when you go down to Texas. All right. Oh, here's what I was going to show you. Almost got distracted. But I didn't. I'm not Joe Biden yet. I can keep focused. All right, here. New Israeli officials said Trump approved the Iran attack. We had a clear U.S. green light, adding reports of Trump restraining Israel were planned to deceive, while Trump and Netanyahu coordinated the attack in private. Well, someone's lying, right? And it could be, Israel. I want to put what they say is the truth, but someone's lying because the United States is saying, no, we didn't have anything to do with this attack. We were made aware of it, but we didn't plan this. And Israel's basically saying that, oh, no, we all planned it. And this was all, the negotiations were just deployed to fool the Iranians. Trump was never serious about negotiating in good faith. That was just deployed. We could get all the negotiators in one area and murder them all. That was the idea. And if that's the case, that's not a good look. It's not a good look for America. I don't know. I don't know which is true. But Israel's reporting Trump was actively planning this attack. So someone's lying, Israel or Trump. I don't know who someone is lying, but that's what we are getting to. Someone else made this point about the point was to get to end the negotiations. And I think this is a pretty good point, really. Israel did not attack Iran because Iran was about to attack Israel. Israel attacked Iran because there was about to be peace. Yeah, that was Israel's big fear, that a peace settlement would be reached. And again, Israel won't tolerate that. So, and this guy said, taking out the negotiators who have been talking to the U.S. delegation was Trump's bosses reminded him of his place. Maybe. And if Israel defied us and defied Trump, we should cut off all aid to Israel. Now, I know it's like a joke I'm saying there because that will never happen, because people like Lindsey Graham and Tom Cotton, they have more loyalty to the Israel than they do the United States. And I'm not saying that tongue in cheek or hyperbole. I mean that they do. So that won't happen, but that's what should happen if we were duped by Israel. All right, then we get this, and I haven't heard this. This happened after 9/11. Remember 9/11? I remember that well. A lot of you may be so young you don't remember that, but right after there was a sense of panic, like we're in a new world. World War III. They did that again. This is World War III, and this is just the first attack by the Muslims. And they're going to continue the attacks. And there was rumors, because it happened September 11th, but on Halloween, the Muslims were going to attack malls and kill everyone in malls. That was a rumor that went around because they have these sleeper cells. They have all these sleeper cells secretly in the United States, right? So GOP, the mainstream, they decided, let's just trot that idea out. Keep your head on a swivel. Biden led in millions of people in America. Iran may activate some sleeper cells against Americans. Stay armed. Well, this is ridiculous. This is nonsense. And what they're just trying to do, because again, Iran doesn't have a problem with the United States. They really don't. You go, oh, they called us the Great Satan. Yeah, because we fund Israel. But it's not like they want to attack us or invade us or anything. That's the truth. So they got to have some way to get the stupid Americans to think Iran is a threat to us. So they invent these imaginary sleeper cells, right? Sleeper cells. These Iranians are supposed to be living here for years secretly just to rise up and shoot a bunch of Americans. So stay armed, because any Iranian you could see could be a sleeper cell agent. It's, yeah, right. But they're trying that to try to get everyone hyped up about it. And it may get some of the MAGA types, the probably the Q crowd. Is Q still a thing? It may get them all excited. They may be running around with their guns now, waiting for sleeper cells. It's such a joke. And all the people that promote these ideas, and if it never happens, right? So is Charlie Kirk going to apologize if this never happens? That he was fear mongering and there was no truth to it? No, it would be on to something else. So I'm here to tell you, while it's not impossible, I think it's very unlikely there are sleeper cells that you need to worry about. So you have bigger things to worry about, including diversity that could kill you, not sleeper cells. So yeah, that is where we are there. So, okay. So watch out for the sleeper cells. So we'll see what happens there. That's kind of my take on the Israel-Iran thing. I'm not real surprised. I think Trump wants to try to resolve it because his instincts are to have peace, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, here. And we'll do this weekend on Saturday. I guess they're planning a No Kings protest. And it reminds me of like the Pussy Hat protest. I think this protest is going to be a big flop. I don't think there's going to be riots, really. I really don't. I think the Democrats have understood now that it has a reversed impact on people. And let me show you this, right? Because I know a lot of people are like, oh no, this Saturday there's going to be riots everywhere. No, there'll be some, except for, places like Portland and Seattle. You'll mostly have some middle-aged women with pink hair that have tattoos with like a gay pride hat on. That they will be out there waddling around saying they don't want Donald Trump to be their king and molest them or whatever. Maybe they'll pull out the handmaiden costume. Remember that one? Because supposedly when Trump was going to be elected, you remember this? These women have all these sexual fantasies about Trump. It's really weird. It's kind of funny to do this. These middle-aged heavy women, they had the idea that if Trump became president, there was a secret plan to take all these women and give them to men and breed them against their will. Remember that? Yeah, anyone would want to do that. So they dressed up like the Maiden Tale, with the red costume. That maybe they still have that costume. I don't know, but they're going to go out there and say no kings. I'm at this point would prefer a king to the current system. A monarchy would be better than this democracy. But sadly, Trump isn't a king, and it's sort of it's a weird thing that's not going to mostly resonate with people, because a lot of people think like kings are cool. I know the black community, man, king, like LeBron, he's the king. They like that language, so they don't really understand that. And Mexicans don't really care. They just want to do their thing. So again, this is mostly college-age girls and fat middle-aged women that don't have a man. And then you'll have, like in Portland and San Francisco, you'll have the men that dress up as women. You'll have them out there. But that's pretty much going to be your demographic. It's going to be a very low energy thing. I don't think we're going to have riots. And here's the reason. They did polling. This was a real poll. JL partners, whose side are you most on, the police or the rioters? And the police dramatically much more than the rioters. So again, more people, and this is more people support the police than they even support Trump. So the whole idea of shutting down freeways, waving the Mexican flag while you throw Molotov cocktails. Who knew? Who knew? But that's not popular anymore. It's just not popular anymore. And I think the Democrats have finally figured that out. And I think there's been a secret memo sent out to tell their fentanyl or meth heads or whatever that they're not going to give them cover if they should go out and do that. Because a lot of these guys, they wouldn't do these violent crimes if they thought they could get a serious penalty. Remember in 2020, they did these violent crimes because they basically were told that you don't have to worry. You can set cop cars on fire. You can do whatever. You can do arson. You won't face a serious penalty. That's not the case anymore because Trump's in office. And they're pretty serious about cracking down. And I think Americans are not in the mood for more violence in the streets. So it's not popular riots. And that's why the LA riots, you remember the day after it looked like it was going to spread to other cities like Denver, Houston, and other places. And then it just died off like overnight. And the reason is because these things are coordinated. I'm not saying everyone's involved. Again, you have your foot soldiers or just kind of the meth heads, guys that think they're women, that type of people, and insane people and drug addicts. But it's coordinated at a higher level. And they pulled the plug on it once they started to get, because they get polling numbers, and they saw that this was actually making Trump more popular. It wasn't helping that. And it actually made people want to more deport illegals, not less, right? So that's not the good image. If you want to keep illegals in America, it's not a good image to have them running around on a motorcycle while burning a cop car. That's not good optics. So that's why I say this no king silliness. I don't think there's going to be any riots. Maybe a few scuffles in some places with people that don't get a memo, like in Seattle or whatever. But otherwise, I think it's going to be pretty low key, really. So we will see, but I think it'll be pretty low key here. Oh, I got another super chat, so thank you for this. What is your counterpoint on people who say it's okay to wave a Mexican flag here because German, French, and Irish descendants do it too? Enjoy your weekend. There's nothing wrong with waving a Mexican flag. Like if you're having, if you have a Mexican restaurant, or you're having a fiesta, is that what they call in Spanish, a party, a fiesta, and you want to celebrate your heritage? I don't have a problem with that. The problem of it is when you're engaging in violence, basically an insurrection. You're saying that the United States government is not allowed to control their immigration policy, and you have a right to be in this country illegally. No other country would tolerate this, by the way, but you have a right to be in a country illegally. And if they're trying to send you back in the country you came in illegal with, you have the right to set cars on fires and attack people. And then you wave the flag. That's where it becomes an issue, right? And so that's what I would say. So I guess if you had a bunch of Germans waving their flag and burning cop cars, then yeah, maybe I'd have an issue with that, or Irish, or the French flag. I don't know. But I don't think that's what I would say on that. I got another super chat, so thank you. I think we're about made the goal already, so this is cool. Gavin Newsom should be charged with treason as well. He's a loser and would rather fight Trump than defend his cities. Yeah, Gavin, I always gave him too much credit because he kind of looks the part that he could be. You would think as a Democrat, let's get a white guy that's not senile, and maybe that we could get a lot of what would otherwise be Republican voters. But all you'd have to do is just not be batshit insane. But Gavin's actually a poor politician. He handled this horrible. All he had to do, and I talked on Z-Man about this on Wednesday, all Gavin had to do is say something like, hey, I'm really sympathetic towards our undocumented workers. And I think the solution, most of these people are good people. We need to get a path for them to be citizens. We depend on them for all their hard work, and they do pay taxes, and they're good people. So I'm 100% opposed to what Trump is doing, but there's no place in the state to throw fire bombs or set police cars on fire. We're not going to tolerate that. We deal with things peacefully, and if you do that, we are going to arrest you. That's all he had to say, right? If he wanted to pay me, I could have wrote him something to say that would have been his sister Soldier moment. That, if you guys don't know, that was when Bill Clinton was running. His sister Soldier was some rapper calling for killing white people or something, and he condemned it. And everyone was like, hey, so see, Clinton's not that bad. So Gavin just had to do that. And he would have, right now, if he would have done that, that would have elevated him in the Democratic Party too. But he didn't do that because he just hates Trump so much. So now I don't see him having much of a chance in 2028 because whoever the Republican candidate is, say J.D. Vance, is the Republicans just to have to show the images that we've all seen of the Mexicans' flags waving while cop cars are burning and people are throwing stones off the overpass at passing cars, trying to murder people. That's all he has to show. Show that, and Gavin defending that, and it's over. It's over. So yeah, Gavin was dumb there. So let's see here. And I wanted to make sure I got $20, 30, 40, 45. I think we're almost there. Yeah. So $45, maybe $5 more, we'll get that. So thank you. No, we did got it. 50. Yeah, 10. So let me see. 20, 30, 40, 50. We made the goal. So we'll have the show on Monday. Thank you. You guys are great. All right. Let's see here. But we're not done tonight. We got a lot more stuff to go through here. But that was a good question. So again, I don't really care if people have their flags, but when you do it based on a illegal activity, that's where it's a problem. And again, that'd be like if I was in Hungary. I love Hungary, and I want to cause a problem. But if I flew an American flag there, no one would have an issue. But if I overstayed my visa and to protest being kicked out of the country, I started to set Hungarian police cars on fire while I was waving an American flag and saying Hungary belongs to America, that could cause some issues. I would think that would cause some issues there. And so that is what is happening there here. All right. Speaking of which, how the protests got really silly. So the LA, they had all the riots, but then the leftists, the people in charge saw, oh shit, this is not doing well. Trump is getting more popular. People aren't, they're not liking that. We got to shut it down. Shut it down. It's like that meme. Shut it down. So they shut down the riots, and they had something really very gay. Even for California, this is very gay. And this is what they did the other day. They had, this is a protest from the Great Riots. They had, okay, so they have this fat white woman who is an interpretive dancer. An interpretive dancer means you don't know how to dance. That's how he's like. I don't know what sort of interpretation she's doing, but she's an idiot. But here she is. She's doing an interpretive dance, I guess, fighting fascism or something. And then you have like these, the mariachi band. It sounds like, it gets me in the mood for Mexican food right now. I could use some nachos. I really could. Hearing this, because whenever you go to a Mexican restaurant, you hear this type of music. Because let's face it, Mexicans, their music, they only have one song. And they just play it over and over and over. All their songs sound the same. It's this song. So you've heard it. And so it's like in my brain. It's like you train a dog. When I hear this song, I think, where's the nachos? It's just, I want a margarita. Oh, God, this is cringe. Look at her. So this is going to be the No Kings protest. This is pretty much what it's going to be like. Oh, they always have that stupid trumpet too. The Mexican mariachi bands, they have that trumpet blaring out. I think I've seen these guys at Casa Bonita. I've seen these guys. Casa Bonita was I think they've reopened it. It was in Lakewood, Colorado. I went there as a kid even. And they would have the guy in a gorilla costume. It was set up like a Mexican village. You'd have the cliff divers, and you'd have these guys. I think I've seen them. Arriba, 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 arriba. Boy, this is pretty low energy. You have this guy with all this gay shit on, and he's still wearing a mask. And by the way, all you guys saying hot Latina women, see this woman here? This is what most of them look like, right? So don't tell me about the hot Latina woman. This is what they look like in reality, okay? I know if you watch Telemundo, you see these buxom, hot blonde women, and no, this is how they look like. They're kind of short and squat. So this was the protest that went down in LA. Like I said, I'm hungry for Mexican food now. So I think the No Kings protests are going to be very similar. I hope they do have interpretive dancers, though. I would have to see it. I think they're going to have a protest, and they had it on their site. I was talking to a guy, a supporter of mine, by the way, he's part of the Substack. I was talking today, and he said he went to the No Kings website, all the dots where they're going to have protests. They're going to have one here in Arkansas, in Fayetteville. So I may have to go to it, see if they have an interpretive dancer, maybe a mariachi band. I will have to see. I will have to go down there and be part of that. So that is that here. All right. And then we had this guy here. This is a senator. I don't know how he's a senator. We got to send him back home. All right. So he's here he is.
Hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for
So he's trying to rush this stage, right? And this guy's are like, no, you can't rush the podium. This is Kristi Noem. You know, isn't she the one? She was governor of South Dakota, the one that claimed she killed her puppy Cricket, killed Cricket because she couldn't train him. You know, and she also says she met the leader of North Korea, but that was a lie. She likes to pose in tight-fitting outfits with a rifle. She's one of those. But this guy was trying to rush the stage, the senator.
Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
How many of our ICE agents have been docked for doing their duty?
So Kristi Noem is trying to give her speech, and this guy got a little fiery, the Latino temper, I guess, and he tried to charge the podium, and he got kicked out. He got kicked out because he couldn't control himself. He couldn't act like a white man. So we need to, but anyway, this caused painful memories. I don't think he's a Holocaust survivor. And that's the thing. It's going to be sad. I wonder how many Holocaust survivors will have been killed by the Iranian rockets. There's a lot of them. And I'm sure they'll be, because anytime something like that happens is good. I got another super chat from Ryan. $2 for poor little cricket. Yeah, poor little cricket. Who could shoot a puppy? Noam Christie says she shot the puppy. She might have been lying about that, though. I don't think she really shot a puppy. I think she put that in her book because it made her look like a badass girl boss. And sometimes girls, they try to compensate, try to act tough. So they make up stories like they think that makes them look tough, but it makes them look psychotic. Because even a tough guy wouldn't shoot a puppy. That doesn't make you look tough. But sometimes women behave that way. All right. So now Padilla, because they kicked him out because he couldn't act like a white man and be respectful, stirs painful memories of a childhood spent proving his worth. And that is sad. I hope they can send him back to wherever his home country is so we can heal these painful memories. So he can charge the podiums in wherever he was from. Obviously, he needs to go back. He needs to go back. I don't know why he's senator. Why do we have someone like that as senator? Got me, but that's where it is. All right. Then for this No Kings Day, the usual suspects are paying influencers. How come I never get paid? I want to get paid, but I never get paid. But here they're paying people to say the same talking points. See, these influencers are kind of dumb. They just read what they're given in their email, so they all end up saying the same thing. If they're trying to be clever, they probably send the email, right? I bet I would love to see the email they get, and they get a check. Okay, here's $1,500. Please mention these points, but put it in your words, please. Please just don't read this verbatim. And then, of course, they're too stupid. They read it verbatim. So you have all these people reading the same email that went out to people. All right. So let's listen to this talking point. I guess she's a TikTok influencer, which I rank just barely above a OnlyFans whore. I mean, is there a difference? I don't know. But anyway, she's an influencer, and they always do these videos in their car. So let's listen to her.
Being in a country that you're in illegally is a civil offense, not a criminal one. You know what else is a civil offense? Jaywalking.
And being undocumented is not a criminal offense. It's a civil one. And if you've ever jaywalked, congratulations, because you've also committed a civil offense.
Have you ever sped over the speed limit? Have you ever drank or smoked underage? Have you ever drank and then driven a car? What about jaywalking?
See, you can tell they're all saying the same lines, because who jaywalks? What is jaywalking? Is that still a thing? Do people really worry about jaywalking? Like, bro, I was arrested the other day for jaywalking. I've never have. Have you guys? Have you ever been arrested for jaywalking? I've never seen anyone arrested for jaywalking. I don't know anyone that's been arrested for jaywalking. But, it's one of those meme things. It was like when I was a kid, jaywalking I don't think that's a real thing. So the point is, I don't really care what degree of the law is they are not citizens. They don't belong here. The remedy is to send them back to their home country, right? So what crimes people commit in this country does in no way justify illegal immigrants being here. See, these are, I guess, women that are kind of dumb. They're probably college educated, but they can't make logical thoughts, really. Because this is a logical fallacy. The fallacy they're trying to do here, and they don't understand this, is like, well, because people in the United States commit crimes like jaywalking, then, hey, yeah, technically coming into our country is illegally, but people jaywalk. People jaywalk. Haven't you jaywalked? And I'd have to say, I don't think I have. I don't think I've jaywalked. Maybe I have. I don't know. I don't even know really what that means. I've crossed the street sometimes, not at the light. Does that count? Always? I don't know. But I don't know. But no, that's not the same as coming in the country illegally, right? You have different types of serious crimes in America. Some aren't so serious. Some are very serious, like murder. You have jaywalking. Okay, you have that category of crimes. Then you have people coming in our country illegally. I don't want them in our country. They need to be sent back. And then you go, yeah, but people in our country jaywalk. I'm like, so what has that got to do with anything? This is so stupid. But this is like they didn't come up with them. They didn't come up with this talking point on their own. Obviously, they were sent this to be on. As this is a brilliant thought. I wish I could debate these people. I got to look at this lady again. How did she become an influencer? Don't you have to have kind of a pretty face to be an influencer? Look at that. Unless is this trans woman? I'm not really sure. You never could tell anymore. It kind of looks masculine. How did this thing become an influencer? I don't know. It's obviously not based on intelligence. We can tell that. And it's obviously not based on looks. So I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand that. I mean, if she's going to be stupid and use these logical fallacies, at least I want to see a nice pair of tits. Can I at least see a nice pair of tits? But no, I have this ugly woman having this stupid logical fallacy that she can't even comprehend. I don't see the point of that. So yeah, that is what we're doing there. So jaywalking. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. And I think I had another thing. We had a a thing from Trump, and this was disappointing. I did my video about this, and boy, this sucks. I like Trump, but then I get mad at him. I'm not one of those guys who can always rah him, everything he does. And this is just typical Trump. Everyone's excited. He's getting rid of illegals. But now he's saying our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them. Oh, I'm sure they're unbiased. Could it be they just want cheap workers that they could have and not pay properly? Right. Yeah. With those jobs being almost impossible to replace. Oh, really? Before we had illegal immigrants, people did those jobs. Oh, white people won't do those jobs. As I said before, Sasha, her family did those jobs. Literally, they were migrant workers. So what are you talking about? In many cases, the criminals, he capitalized. What's with Trump and his capitalization? I will never understand that. Allowed into our country by very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the United States. Changes are coming. So basically, Trump is walking back all deporting, because all illegal aliens are criminals. They broke the law being here. But he's walking that back, and he's just saying, no, so if you're illegal and you're on the picking lettuce, or if you're one of the hotel workers, it's okay to be illegal. No, it's not okay to be illegal. Those businesses should be shut down. But it looks like he's walking that back. But he's going to go after the criminals, which aren't that many. But yeah, so good. Way to go, Trump. I didn't vote for that Trump. I did not vote for that Trump. So that is not a good thing for that. And then, boy, here, I almost forgot something. Let me see here. And someone gave me let me see if I could get because I want to end with this. Let's see here. Here it is. Oh, no. Someone sent me a link I wanted to show. And then I lost it. I should have had it prepped. Oh, wait, maybe I have it. Maybe I have it. Here it is. All right, here it is. Here's the link. All right, I haven't seen this list. Let's watch this together. Hopefully it's not too bad. No, this is a good guy, so it won't be bad. It's a treadmill horse. Poor horse. Did you know? You can look this up. You can look this up. It's not an urban myth. A treadmill was originally invented to be a torture device. Now it's used for exercise. Well, look at that horse run. Thank you for that. Yeah, it is cool. He likes horses and he goes, you always show like dogs and stuff. Why don't you show a horse? And he sent me that. So thank you for that. Pretty cool horse. All right. Let me just see if I got everything here. And all right. Let me just do the power chats. I always feel bad if I miss something. That's why I'm checking. I have to get my team to look at this. Now, I'm all caught up, and I did the $50. So we'll have our show on Monday. Ramsey Paul show. I look forward to that. And I think Sunday night session and I are doing Night Owls. We're just going to have an informal one. We're going to have some fun with that. And today's Friday the 13th. Yay. So I hope you guys all had a great week. And I hope we have another great week coming up. So thank you so much. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.